What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I will be counting down 5 dinosaurs that aren't what you thought they were. So let's begin. Number 5. Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus is the largest carnivorous dinosaur known. It can grow up to 18 meters long and weigh up to 10 tons. It was easily the largest predatory land animal of all time, at least that we know of. This means, by the way, that the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3 was not exaggerated as fanboys claim, but actually smaller than its real-life counterpart. Spinosaurus also turns out to look very different from the pictures in the books. It didn't have a short snout, but long crocodile-like jaws, armed with cone-shaped teeth. Also, its arms weren't short, but rather long and powerful, armed with enormous hooked claws. Recent analysis of its teeth and skeleton have suggested that Spinosaurus may have been a semi-aquatic animal, spending most of its time wading or swimming to catch large fish, as well as crocodiles and anything else it could capture. Its strong forearms would aid in swimming, and the strong claws would hook, kill, and help dismember large prey. One thing, however, remains the same. To date, no one knows for sure what the weird sail on its back was used for. Number 4. Velociraptor. Velociraptor was practically unknown to the public before Jurassic Park and has been causing confusion ever since. When most people think of Velociraptor, they remember the large, lizard-like, wickedly smart villains from Spielberg's blockbuster. However, those creatures were not based on the real-life Velociraptor, but on a large North American relative called Deinonychus. The real Velociraptor was a small animal about the size of a large dog. It also had a more slender body and a longer snout than the Deinonychus. But both Deinonychus and Velociraptor have changed a lot since Jurassic Park, due to amazing discoveries of Asian fossils which prove that many small predatory dinosaurs, including Velociraptor, had feathers. Today, almost all paleo artists draw Velociraptor, Deinonychus, and many of their relatives covered in feathers, more similar to a large chicken than to overgrown lizards. Although some people cringe at the idea of replacing the classic Jurassic Park raptor with a feathered bird thing, at least the fossil records confirm that it was a deadly killer. A fossilized Velociraptor was found preserved in the act of stabbing the throat of a Triceratops with its killing claw, while another specimen was found with Velociraptor bite marks on it, suggesting that these nasty little dinosaurs fought, killed, and perhaps ate each other. Number 3. Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus is perhaps the most recognizable of all prehistoric animals. It is nearly impossible to mistake it for another creature. We all knew Stegosaurus as that heavy, small-headed dinosaur with an arched back and a dragging tail, sporting 4 spikes that pointed upwards. Popular books also brought up the fact that Stegosaurus had a brain the size of a walnut, and that it was probably a very dumb animal that went extinct because it couldn't compete with the much better armored Ankylosaurus. However, Stegosaurus, like many dinosaurs, has changed a lot since. Fossil footprints and detailed studies of its anatomy have proven that Stegosaurus didn't drag its tail, but actually walked erect, like an elephant, with its tail held horizontally, parallel to the ground. Its back wasn't as arched as they had us believe, and the neck was not carried horizontally as usually depicted, but upright like a bird's. Also, the tail spike clusters didn't actually point upward, but sideways. This made the tail a much deadlier and more efficient weapon to stab an attacking predator. Stegosaurus only had to swing its tail horizontally. Punctures matching the Stegosaurus's tail spikes have been found in the bones of predatory dinosaurs from the same age and place, proving once and for all that Stegosaurus wasn't any less dangerous than the Ankylosaurus that would evolve later. Number 2. Tyrannosaurus rex. Up to 13 meters long and weighing up to 7 tons, this bone-crushing predator had a long story of inaccurate depictions, shown in old movies and book illustrations as a lizard-like monster with a square, plain-looking skull, a long tail being dragged on the ground, and a tripod-like stance. T-Rex would later be found to be much more opposing. In real life, Tyrannosaurus walked in a horizontal stance with the tail held above the ground. Although this means it was actually shorter, it also means that it was much more agile animal, able to run at high speed and quickly capture prey with its massive jaws. Its head was not square, and it was not as lizard-like as old movies had made us believe. It actually had a unique shape, different to any other dinosaur, with a narrow snout, eyes that looked forward, and a series of knobs over the snout. This all gave T-Rex a much more frightening appearance than the giant lizards in, let's say, King Kong. In real life, T-Rex had only 2 fingers with meat hook-like claws. Although people often wonder why T-Rex arms were so small and weak, they were actually quite robust and had very strong muscles. It is believed that the T-Rex could lift over 100 kilograms, although they were obviously not used for lifting stuff, and were probably used to hold onto prey while delivering a fatal bite to the neck or spine. Once again, new discoveries from China have confirmed that the earliest T-Rex relatives had feathers. Some paleontologists believe that this meant T-Rex would have feathers too, at least during a part of its life. Although actual evidence of feathers on T-Rex has yet to be found, it is possible that very young Tyrannosaurus had a downy coat, and that as they grew larger they lost them, partially or completely, since very large animals don't need insulation as much as small ones. Number 1. Triceratops. And finally we get to number 1, Triceratops. The T-Rex's stereotypical arch nemesis and one of the largest members of the horned dinosaur family. Just like Stegasaurus, Triceratops is hard to mistake for any other animal. It has become fixed in our mind as the giant rhinoceros-like parrot-beaked 3-horned reptile with skin like an elephant or a rhino with sprawled forelegs. We are also pretty sure that Triceratops was a plant eater, being one of the most abundant and successful dinosaurs of its times. However, it was only a matter of time before new Triceratops material revealed its incredible secrets. Turns out, Triceratops was bigger than we thought, and it didn't have skin like an elephant or a rhino. Instead, it had a series of alligator-like flat scales called scuds on its belly, and the rest of its body was covered in large scales and knobs. Its back and tail also had a series of weird fist-sized bumps, each one holding a nipple-like structure, which has yet to be explained by scientists. Some scientists suggest they were poison glands, oozing toxins to protect the Triceratops' hindquarters from T-Rex attacks. We still have no way to know for certain. That's not all. Triceratops' forelegs were not sprawled. A study of its limbs proved that it actually walked erect, like an elephant, and used only the 3 inner toes of its forelegs to hold weight, while the other 2 toes were vestigial and didn't touch the ground. This also suggests that Triceratops was much faster and more agile than usually thought. Finally, the weirdest part, after examining beak and jaws, paleontologists reached the conclusion that Triceratops may have been partially carnivorous, probably scavenging after T-Rex or even scaring smaller predators away from their kills. Its strong jaws were able to crush bone and flesh as easily as they could grind plant material. The result would be an incredibly bizarre-looking, intimidating beast that behaved more like a giant wild boar than the placid vegetarian. We simply will never look at the Triceratops the same way again. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.